Hello, it is September 22nd, 2025 at 7:04 p.m., and you're watching the Dovecote episode 78 with Sebastian Yue.
Hi.
Hi. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hello, I'm Sebastian. I use they, them pronouns. I'm a tabletop writer, editor, and designer. I've worked on Apocalypse Keys, Doomsday Delights, Warren God, and like a whole bunch of other games. I'm also the community manager and publishing coordinator at Canadian publisher Hitpoint Press. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Yeah, I think like if you played, I think like any kind of larger scale. I mean, perhaps this is reductive, but I do feel like if you played, uh, indie TTRPGs, or if you were a frequent and kind of widespread player of indie TTRPGs, you've probably seen some of Sebastian's work. Um, yeah, I'm so glad to have you. I I think it's I was very I suppose this is probably a bit presumptive of me, but I was a little surprised to see you what's the word? I think the way that I was introduced to you was that you entered the Faggot Games server, which we're not really supposed to say on here, but I haven't gotten in trouble yet, so um, but yeah, I do realize I just broke a rule of the Faggot Games server. Oops, but uh uh anyways yeah, that's cool. Um, I guess I will ask. I because you and I had. I should point out to my audience as well because I pointed it out to you. I am a little tipsy today, so this is like affecting things. But you mentioned that that you wanted to talk a bit about your work on Warren Guard. I've had Natalie on before. I think I've had Natalie on twice actually. Once once around the campaign of Warren Guard, and once when she was getting her new pussy, um, which was kind of made into a whole event. But yeah, I'm curious. Like, what sort of work did you do on Warren Guard?
Yeah. So I made a playbook called The Nobody. I wanted to to allow players to create a character who was just kind of like a loser and had like a lot of resentment and shame attached to that. I really like to enable players to explore particularly the emotion of shame. And so this character, ideally you'd play someone who has like a lot to prove to themselves, to just to the other people around them. You do a lot of work in the hold, but you don't actually get appreciated for it.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I just thought that would be really fun. I was kind of looking at the archetypes that were already there, and I was like, oh wait, I think I could do one that is a bit. I mean, not to say like edgier, but like a little bit edgy.
Yeah, there is an urge when you see something that is like so kind of strongly. I mean, maybe this is just me, but it does sound like maybe this was your instinct as well, where you see something that is like so strong in its themes and vision to kind of create something that is uh, I'm gonna say antithetical, but I mean it in like a dialectical sense, like something that is an antithesis, like that is in conversation, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think so, and especially like with the themes of like of Warren, I think there's a lot of opportunity to build a story that goes into, like found family and bonds with your dragon and bonds with your fellow dragon riders.
Yeah, and it's kind of the question of like what happens when there's a person whose whose bonds are negative or kind of non-existent or difficult. I think that's really fun.
Yeah, definitely. And like the questions that you for this playbook to establish relationships, it establishes like friction between the characters. So one of them is like, how did we first meet and why don't you remember me? And another one is, in my quest to distinguish myself, what terrible injustice did I do to you? So I like setting up those kinds of like conflicts. I think there's a
Hmm.
lot to play with.
Yeah, I what did I do to you is really good. There's so
Yeah.
much like I don't know how I ever play TTRPGs that don't have like fucking instant questions that just break your heart when you read them.
Yeah, that's like my favorite kind. I'm just like, I mean, it makes me kind of sit up and go, ooh, a spicy backstory. Let's go there.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know. I want that um, I want those unresolved feelings because that's that's where a lot of the interesting storytelling for me kind of comes up. Is kind of either trying to resolve those feelings or letting them come to a point, an amount of tension that can't be swept away.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think that that sorry, I've lost my train of thought.
It's okay.
Yeah. Basically, I like character relationships are the thing that I get most excited about when playing when playing with other people. And so I like games where I can just kind of jump in and then immediately start being like, oh, maybe our characters knew each other from this, or maybe this happened, and it gives me a starting point, like from which I can, go off and do role play. Just because, like, at any, like, when I'm starting, I kind of don't really know the character yet. I don't really
Mhm.
know what kind of story I want to tell, but I do appreciate it when there's questions that kind of underpin that, and then I can carry those through until I've like met the character, so to speak.
Yeah, I think like the assumption, and this is like so, why didn't cavemen just invent the wheel shit? But I, I do think there's a degree to which like I think about the kind of early fantasy adventure games, your D&D, as kind of the the kind of milestone one, and like it's crazy to think that only in the last couple of years have we really hit a kind of standardization around kind of building those relationships. That's not to say that like World of Darkness wasn't hitting on that stuff years earlier, because that I think anything that any indie mechanic that you point at is going to you can say, well, Vampire did that in the '90s, but you know.
Yeah, I think, I mean, yeah, it's always good to acknowledge like, precursors and people who kind of, inverted commas like did it first, but also like I do agree that there's been a kind of proliferation of this style of design noticeably in recent years.
Yeah, in kind of I don't know. Did you read J Dragon's Expressionist Games Manifesto?
I did, yes, I did.
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of the ideas in the Expressionist Games Manifesto are kind of uh, uh, in not necessarily in opposition, but in kind of are kind of antagonistic towards the sort of assumptions around like um, games about relationships, games about kind of the standard of indie game design. And I'm curious, like what a game that takes that the nugget of like the lefts and rights that you have in BOB and is like, I'm not just removing these, I'm removing these with intentionality. Like the fact that the characters don't know each other uh is in its own right an interesting thing in the same way that expressionist games is like the fact that the rules themselves are kind of a social structure is sort of this intentionality. That's me just kind of rambling, but you know.
No, I think I see what you mean. I think it would be interesting to kind of, yeah, because it's supposed to end up that like, each character has like a bond or a relationship to at least two others. So I think it could be interesting to kind of answer these maybe in secret or maybe without,
Mm.
or maybe you just answer it, but like you choose another player's character but without that player knowing. Like that could be interesting.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, you go into the game and it's like, wait, why does this character hate me? I need to find that out. And also as a player, I need to find that out.
Oh, that's so much fun. Like all,
Yeah.
I feel like there's an element to like kind of. I feel like there's two very compelling directions here, which is like one is the questions and answers are things that like you would have to know, you'd have to like know that this had happened, and yet you don't. Like kind of a player character information imbalance weighing towards the character. But the other
Yeah.
one that really compels me is the like, all the questions are like, what did this person do that that you saw? Like who are you secretly stalking? Like that, there's some fun
Right.
to be had there.
Yeah. And I
'Cause
think with this particular playbook, like the question that I did call out, like, how do we first meet and why don't you remember me? I think that lends
mm,
itself so well to this. Like, and if my character comes up to another player's character and this and the player is genuinely like, I have no idea who you are, like, sorry, like that could be super fun.
uh, yeah, that's really fun. Fuck. Hell yeah. Cool.
So, all
Um,
this to say that basically I agree that would be a really cool way to play the game, and if you wish to play it like that, I would love to hear how it goes.
yeah, hidden bonds, I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Some fun stuff there. Cool. One thing that you'd mentioned in, I pretty much ask all my guests, what do you want to talk about? Um, you mentioned journalism and TTRPGs. Um, I mean, I have what you said you wanted to talk about here, but I'm curious if you have like a specific direction you want to go in with that.
Honestly, it's a bit of a broad topic, and there's a whole bunch of different ways you could take it. Like, I found that journalism, like, what I learned in journalism school has actually been pretty useful in terms of understanding like structure of tabletop, and like it has influenced my design, and it has meant that I'm kind of obsessed with putting fictional media organizations into the games that I run.
Okay.
But yeah, but also there is also like the role of the journalist and the role of the critic and kind of games journalism as like a whole. There's that angle too. So I'm kind of basically I'm down to like talk about like any and all of it. That's not helpful, is it?
No, it is because there are elements of what you said that I'm like super curious about. Um, I may land up so for clarity, I also went to journalism school, so this is like um
Yeah.
this is real bug to bug communication. Um but I'm actually very curious to hear what your thoughts on like how has journalism how have things that you've learned in journalism school like affected your TTRPG design?
I think on a really, really basic level, like if I approach the text itself as like I'm talking about like rules text. If I approach it as like a technical like writing exercise, and in some cases I do, I found it useful to essentially like do the what the inverted pyramid or what have you, but for games, like what is the how do
Hmm.
I say what this game is about in as few words as possible, and like what is the minimum amount of information you need to know to play this game. Like if someone like reads my article, skims the first paragraph, would they understand what the story is, kind of situation.
Yeah,
That's often a question I ask myself.
I I
Yeah.
I very much agree. I think that there is like, and I think I sometimes have failed in this because I make such weird creatures, and I'm not very good at selling my own work. Uh, but it is something that I do think is like a useful skill that you do get from journalism.
Yeah, and then there's also like the marketing and PR side of things, which like nobody wants to do. I mean, honestly, I don't necessarily enjoy it either, but
Hmm.
nowadays that's been really useful because like I know how PR kind of works in that way. Like I'm used to getting like PR people never answer the questions that I ask them. They answer the questions that they want to answer, right? And so
Yeah,
that's yeah, it's just something that like over time I've just been like, huh, that's absolutely fascinating. Like, and that's kind of how you deal with publicity essentially.
yeah, it is. Getting a bunch of bullshit answers from people does definitely help. I mean, I would even say like because I did some journalism on my college campus that had like a very obstructive communications department at
Yeah,
that time.
that's a
Um,
mood. Same, so did I.
yeah, yeah, and I think like learning, like learning how to like interact with people in the TTRPG scene. I think a lot of that I got from like, how do you write a nice email that's not going to scare off your source, right?
Yes, exactly. Like kind of how do I come across in like a genuine kind of way. I mean, because a lot of people understandably and for good reasons are very wary of journalists. Like there's a kind of like a stereotype of like a journalist as a kind of predatory being who just wants to like get all the drama, which some journalists are like that. I like on a personal level, yeah, I love drama as much as anybody else, but
Uh-huh.
it's not necessarily what I'm trying to do professionally.
Yeah, I think there's also an element for me that's like about the art of journalism and how it applies to TTRPG, like TTRPG writing. I think about Try. I'm try. I wanna say this without making it very clear who my where I went to school. I had a professor who was from South America and was specifically from like a very particular like South American tradition of journalism, like essayism or ensayismo. I think that's how you say it in Spanish. But that is like a mode of journalism that is very much about like it's very contained in the self, like, and you know that is kind of anathemic to a lot of what we do in the UK and the US around journalism. But yeah, I think like from having that professor, I kind of drew a lot from that, and a lot of my own writing and world building and design is like I come at it from a perspective where it's not just writing fantasy for me is not just about kind of drawing things from my mind or like putting together pieces of media that I've consumed. It's I will sometimes intentionally make myself more present in certain experiences because I know that I'm going to be able to draw on them from for future work. Like when I'm in when I go to like a city, I'm drawing stuff from that to put into a city thing, and I think that's something that journalism broadly is kind of directed me to do.
Yeah. No, yeah, I hear what you're saying. That makes sense to me. It also makes me think a lot about like, biases and objectivity just because of, like how much of myself I'm, consciously or unconsciously putting into my work, whether it's journalism or tabletop. Like, everything is just going to be influenced by all of the experiences that I've had, whether I like it or not. And it also did, it also did give me like a new perspective. For example, one of the stories that I had to study when I was in journalism school was this this reporter had gone undercover to do a story about domestic laborers, and so I was reading it and I was like, why didn't she just talk to the people who she's working with? Was this actually necessary? Why do we need someone to go undercover to be like, look, I experienced this, but and like look how terrible it is, but like we won't believe the people who are just living it every day. So there, there's that as well. And so I've heard some like basically the conversations around that are similar to the ones around like sensitivity and consulting in tabletop that I see.
Yeah, I that makes me think of something else that I'm drawing like another connection. This is really I'm having some really bizarre tipsy brain moments, but like hear me out. So
Amazing.
I also learned a lot of about a lot of undercover stories in like early journalism school, and something that came to feel once I kind of went into I'll kind of give a little bit more context. So I went to to college around like 27, the late 2010s is what I'll say. Uh, and I there was a story that I wrote for a paper that was about like a like Nazi Discord that people someone was posting QR codes around the college for, and one of the things that I asked the editor of that paper at the time was like, "Hey, can I go into this space on without announcing who I am?" And they were like, "No, you have to say who you are. Like, there's no reason to hide yourself here." And at that time, I was presenting in a very different way. I was way more of a man type character, and for the past year, I've been hearing all these wonderful stories about these heroes of journalism who went undercover, um, and I think that like the same dynamic kind of exists in TTRPGs with like big AP, big APs. Like I think like
Yeah.
you can draw a line between like the way that journalists kind of set each other up for failure with like some of those undercover figures with like your Matt Mercers and your Brentley Mulligans. Like it's setting an impossible standard essentially, or it's setting even a standard that's a standard that can't be followed through on necessarily.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with the AP scene, but I think I get it. Like, if you think about like the stereotype of a journalist, it's someone, in like a like with a hat that says press on it with a
Uh,
camera who's like sneaking around getting the scoop or whatever, and like that's way more glamorous than like the actual day-to-day is.
yeah, yeah. I think it's interesting how in its infancy, I think TTRPGs as an art form are kind of setting up their own like aesthetic, and it is also kind of it's kind of a grungy white dude as well. So
Yeah.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
I want to hear about your.
So,
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, so like, I mean, what kind of journalism did you do? Like, what area?
I did a lot of I got really deep into like science journalism. I did a lot of I live on an island, so I wound up doing a lot of stuff around like local marine life, local marine industry. Um, I did some stuff on water supply, some stuff on solar, because I also live in an aquifer water environment that has a guy. Someone's gonna know where I'm talking about, and that's fine. Listen, people can know the region I'm from, um, but it has a high concentration of 1,4-dioxane, which is uh, a, water pollutant. So I learned a lot about that. But yeah,
That's so cool.
thank you. Yeah, if you don't mind saying, what sort of stuff did you do?
My background is in hard news. God.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was very tiring. It was it was cool to do. Like, I did feel very fulfilled when I was doing journalism, but unfortunately there is journalism I feel is kind of comparable, at least in Canada, to like freelancing in the tabletop industry. Like, yeah, there aren't that many like full-time journalism positions.
Yeah, yeah, it's tough. I mean, freelancing in the teacher industry, and I would say even like, I mean, there are full time positions in teacher RPGs, but they're
Yeah.
kind of few
And
and
I'm very
far.
lucky. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm very lucky to have one of them, but it's there are not that many. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I would love to hear about your media organizations in your games. That is fascinating to me.
Yeah, I guess that like if the characters are just kind of going off doing stuff, I like to just insert kind of like random journalists to like talk to them, ask them questions, try to like follow up on like rumors that they might have heard about them, like because players really like it. Well, at least my players really like it when they get character moments and then they can talk about their characters, but like in universe, and I do find that like that is very entertaining to me. I've also like made like in universe like newspaper articles and stuff like just kind of like like silly shit just
Hmm.
for the fun of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah, that's
yeah,
fun.
yeah, and I think that if I was like a super hardcore like GM or what have you, then I'd make like puzzles or like quest hooks and stuff in newspapers. I'm not that big brained these days, but I think that there is a lot that you could do with a media organization in your setting, and I find that I don't see many. So if there are any, if you know of any in any settings that you really like, please tell me, and I would love to look into it. So yeah, I just am a big fan of
Yeah.
seeing the presence of media and media culture because like the various various fictional universes, they have media culture. I just at all times want to know more about it. It tells
Yeah,
you so much about the world too. Like, how are these people receiving information and like, who is in control of the dissemination of information, all of that kind of stuff.
I'm trying to think of any that I like. Any fictional, any like teacher sheet settings that I know that have
Yeah, honestly,
journos.
one that I really like, Spire and Heart,
Mhm.
they have several newspapers. There's also like a mission in Strata, I think it is, that your whole like your whole job is to like take over a newspaper and run the paper, and I think that's really cool. They have like 10 different news organizations that you could interact with, and they've got like newspaper clippings and stuff. It's really cool.
Hell yeah, that's very fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I can talk about my own thing. Or talk about Sapphic World
Yeah, honestly,
has
yeah,
a
I want to hear about
newspaper.
that too. Yeah.
Yeah, Sapphic World has a newspaper called The Cleverman, which is an anarchist newspaper run by a weird tall elf in a black coat with a big black hat, um, who kind of
You have my
walks
attention.
around and reports on things. Um, Unfortunately, he will not be in the base game, which is very sad. But I do want to have the Cleverman and maybe some writing about it included, because I do think it's very funny. Uh, uh, I'm trying to. I think there's a snippet of where is the Cleverman snippet? Hang on, where I'm, because I want to send you this that you can
Oh, please
you
do.
can
I would
gawk
love
at.
to.
Hell yeah. But yeah, I really liked writing that sort of thing. I've done it a couple times in my own like home games as well. It's a good time.
And also just because like I found that creating fictional articles is a lot more fun than creating real articles, because for fiction I can lean into not adhering to journalistic ethics and like make a whole thing out of that, and that is very
Yeah,
fun to me.
you can just make a mess. I also think there's
Yeah.
something very fun to be said about like uh doing the bit where like you have like NPCs, you have your journalists like interviewing the player characters, and then like the the newspaper comes out and it's like completely different from what they said.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I love
Yeah,
doing that. It's so funny. Like yeah, your setting needs a tabloid. It just does.
yeah. Are there? I guess I never wrote like an actual Cleverman snippet. I think I just wrote. There's definitely yeah. There's a couple of quotes in the. So every NPC in Sapphire World has a quote, and so some of them are you know from that. Um, but yeah. Anyways, uh, duh, duh, duh. Polio had a newspaper in the 5e game he streamed, and it definitely came to play when the players realized they could do propaganda. Yeah, that is the other end of it,
Yes.
is for the players to kind of spin, do their own spin.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like kind of try to take over the paper, slip in a clue or what have you, like, hijack the crossword, do something fun.
Hell yeah. Um, so, I would also love to hear, you'd mentioned before we started streaming, and I prompted you to hold until we started streaming.
Mm.
You've been playing a game, or you played a game recently, or are you going to play a game? I forgot.
Yeah, basically, I have thus far this year played 12 new games. Well, I mean, systems that I've never played before. I endeavor to play at least 10 a year, and so this is a good year so far. And yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna get to play Dawn of the Orcs, which I'm excited about. Like I picked up the like the book at UKGE actually, and I'm really excited to play it. Like the idea is that you are basically like you're like a wizard or a scholar or something, and you basically have to put all of your skills into like building an army of new soldiers who you call the orcs. Like you basically are the creators of the orcs.
Okay.
And so yeah, and so I'm really interested because like I'm basically gonna see if I can if it's if this game will enable me to create an orc that is like not racist, essentially. Like
Yeah. Huh. Okay. I'm looking at this. Interesting.
yeah, and so like there is like yeah there is a lot of like there's like a little kind of essay in here as well about like why I love orcs. This is like a bit about the history of them. Like so I'm just really interested in seeing how that is going to like actually look in a game.
Yeah, I think there's something. What's the word? I think there's something really interesting about a game like this because obviously orcs as a thing are very fraught. Trying to remember who it was who I know that there have been a couple of really good essays on orcs and sort of their uh, the ways they're racist, the ways that they can be racist over the years, or that their depictions can be racist over the years. Um, and I'm very curious to hear whether you find this this to be which side of that you find this to land on, or which side you find this can land on.
Yeah, honestly, I'm happy to report back. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that tomorrow. I guess we should like yeah, that will be on oh my God, what's the name of the show? I'm a terrible guest. Yeah, please hold while I
No
locate it.
worries. A little exchange that just happened in the chat, which is about Matt Colville. Hive Indicator said, "I know he's not anywhere near your favorite, but yeah." And I said, "Sometimes I forget that people track my opinions."
Fair
I don't know what
enough.
I've said
Yeah.
about Matt Colville. I don't know. I guess I don't know. Yeah. Oh, this Lilith's here. Oh
Okay. Yeah, I found yeah, sorry, I
my
found the show.
god.
It is yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, sorry, I found the show. It's Spellbook Gaming's Roll for Distraction. So that
Hell
will
yeah.
be a podcast and it will come out at some point.
I am finding this. There we go. Yeah, when that comes out, give that a look.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. Um. Okay. How do we feel about getting into our topics?
Very good. Very good about that. I'm about as ready as I will ever be. So,
If you asked me who's the least queer, is that the margin that we're? What's going on in the chat today? If you ask me who's the least queer person in TTRPGs, I put Koval near the top. Why are we using queer versus least queer as a margin? Uh, I mean, not I love queer people, but I mean, I feel like you can just be like you're just straight or you're not. I mean, it's not always. Anyways, let's get into the news. I don't. Okay. Cordis, the newsbird, coming in
I'm
from.
just
Sorry.
no, no, it's fine. I was just gonna be like, I'm not gonna comment on that. I was
Yeah,
just like, okay.
I'm surprised. I, I, I'm becoming. I don't know what I ever said about Matt Colville, but my new official position is that Matt Colville is an ally, and I stand with Matt Colville. Okay, all right, let's get out of
So
this.
sorry. So you're an ally of Matt Koval? Okay, sorry. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, it's okay.
I'd like to meet the news bird.
Yeah, the newsbird is here. This is Cortus, the red one, um, the white and red one. So let's talk about news. The first thing that we have uh, is we're going to talk about Blue Sky. And you might be thinking that seems like pretty general news, but you have to consider that I am a pervert and I make games that are for perverts, and so this is relevant to my considerations. Um, so the short and simple of this is there was a change on September 19th. I think there was like a prior one that was like a little bit less organized, but there was a September 19th change to the terms of service in for Blue Sky. The biggest thing here is the changes to adult content. Um, I'll just read through this, which is adult content. Provide a safe space for consensual adult expression by requiring clear consent and stopping abuse. We allow consensual adult sexual content, including fictional depictions when appropriately labeled and subject to age restrictions. We do not allow sexual content involving non-consensual activity, including synthetic, simulated, illustrated, or animated versions. Do not share, threaten to share, or promote tools to create images or sexual content. But yeah, I mean that makes sense. Do not create, share, or promote sexual content involving realistic risk of death or serious injury. Do not engage in. Yeah, I mean that one's also fine. Um, And then hang on, I should have pulled up Internet Archive. Because then we can, or not a, hang on, Wayback Machine is what I meant. Because then we can look at, we can look at this one. We're gonna go back to like September, go to like August 1st or something. Or like August 28th or something. Okay. So, we look back here. This is August, the last, this is, August 14th was the last update. Let's see. Adult. It seems like there were actually no adult content rules, at least as of August 14th. I'm not sure if they ever added, like they added anything, between the 14th and the 19th. But point being, this is I think pretty stifling for like anyone trying to make work that is about consent, that is about uh, really anything that is outside of characters explicitly consenting, and I don't necessarily know how much it's going to directly affect like written work. I don't think that Blue Sky is like going through and being like, oh my god, you posted a snippet from Sage the Anagog's Praise the Hawkmoth King. But I do think that a lot of TTRPGs are there are a lot of TTRPGs that include or work alongside queer artists who are making work that is challenging around consent and violence and sex, and yeah, I'm a little anxious by just this continued closing of the space. I'm curious if you have any thoughts.
Yeah, honestly, like flat out, this fucking sucks. And like, I'm glad you kind of brought up like the consent piece, just because I do find that rules like this, they don't have any space for like complex emotional experiences, and they just are concerned with the binary of consensual versus non-consensual, which I don't think is necessarily helpful. Like, I just think that like I mean, I guess I do understand why they're doing it, but like from a logistical perspective, I'm just like, why do you not just implement like a system of tagging and then make it easy for people to avoid content that they don't want to see? Like, just I don't know, just I like also the rules that they have are like they're like so vague, and it makes it sound like almost that like you have to get this fictional character's permission to like draw them in such a way. Like that's absurd to me. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, like, and just like the fact that it specifically targets like fictional depictions, and like that stipulation is the new part, right? Like that's but that's one of the things that they've introduced. So it's just a very explicit like targeting of art, stories, queer expression. Yeah.
I just had a terrible idea for this stream that I'm gonna do really quickly before we get back to
Okay.
this.
Okay. I'm all for terrible ideas.
You'll you'll see the bit in a moment. It's deeply
Okay.
silly and unserious, but I'm just gonna put something above my head. Actually, can I make this? Is there one that's just I? Whatever. We'll live with it. There we go.
Yes, we consent. Yeah. Isn't there someone you forgot to ask?
Isn't
Like,
there someone you forgot to
yeah.
ask? I'll take this down after this news section, or this
It's
particular
funny. You can
bit.
leave it. It's
All right,
funny.
awesome. But they have a tagging system. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I do have a suspicion of why this is happening, and it is kind of connected to the reason why.
Yeah.
I think,
Descent into fascism. So yeah. Like,
yeah, and I think that I would not be surprised if this is kind of maybe this is a bit superstitious, or not superstitious, but paranoid of me. But I would not be surprised if it signals an intent to shitify the site further, and fucking monetize this shit. Because eventually they got to do
yeah.
that, right? You know.
I mean, they do. I mean, like I've seen that they don't actually have like a way to have like sponsored ads on the site yet. So yeah, monetization is a problem for them.
Yeah. So they're they're shoring up their uh that they're um battening down the hatches before they have to hit the money button. Um, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to be happy about it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be happy about it either. Although, I mean, having said that, I'm not like on Blue Sky as much as I was when I first joined the site. I've been honestly trying to like get off the internet and like go outside and touch grass, like leave my enclosure. So, and that's been nice.
That's
But
smart.
yeah, I mean, it's been nice, but it also means that like I mean, I've kind of missed a lot of stuff. Like I caught up on this like in the past like couple of days, but yeah.
Man, I gotta hit a button. I just realized I didn't do the things that I normally do when I set up this. There we go. Okay. Speaking of, anyways, uh, yeah, I've been on Blue
Yeah.
Sky a lot just because like I don't know. I have a I have a social media addiction. It's been like the least bad option for a while, but it does
No, I'm
feel
inclined to agree with that.
yeah it does frustrate me that it's like we're kind of in this constant um I don't know it's just like TTRPGs were on Google Plus and then that went down. I mean this is a generalization because there are like people on fucking Threads right now, for example, but
Mhm.
Um, I think broadly, at least the spaces that I care about, we're on Google Plus and then Twitter and now Blue Sky, and it's we gotta destroy capitalists
Yeah, we do. And
badly.
like honestly, yeah, and in the non-tabletop spaces that I was in, like, like I mean, I was on Tumblr and then everyone fled to Twitter and then everyone fled
Mhm.
to Blue Sky. So it's just, like I feel like we're just kind of constantly being chased off of platforms, like because I don't know, I guess no one wants queer shit, no one wants like non-consensual shit. Like, I mean, not the people in charge. So, like, I'm not really sure what like the alternative is though. I mean, get good at coding and learn how to run a server. Like,
Yeah, it's tough. I'm glad that NeoCities is still a thing. I've been slowly swapping my website to NeoCities recently. Um, and that's been nice. I've started paying $5 a month so that I can have Clips.gay on there,
oh,
and that makes
oh,
me
nice,
happy.
nice. I don't know anything about NeoCities.
You got to learn HTML to set stuff up on
Okay,
it.
I do know HTML. I grew up playing Neopets. Like,
Oh, okay, there you go. Um,
yeah.
it is only for static sites though. That is the one thing with that is you can't like
Uh,
have like a form on there. Uh, so it's really just for
okay.
just for you.
My yeah, my current site is mostly static anyway. So yeah. All right.
Yeah, I had to drop
Look into
Squarespace
it.
recently because I cannot afford their subscription
That's
costs to like be able to edit the site. Um,
yeah, that's so expensive.
yeah, one day I will I'll see if I can get someone to like make my make my NeoCities site nice, but right now it is a fucking mess. You can't use it on mobile. You can barely use it on a small laptop screen. But it is it works. Um, Unfortunately, a big part of why the early internet was more free slash censored was because you had to learn to code and host everything yourself. Yeah, Newgrounds, huh?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I remember like, I could sign up to like have a page on a site. Like, I mean, I had free webs or whatever. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
MySpace.
hopefully, Neopets comes back and they let you. I mean, I think Neopets is up, but hopefully they let you put TTRPGs on Neopets one of these days.
Yeah.
That'll work.
I mean, I know Neopets did do a tabletop role-playing game, and like it was impossible to find like anything out about the system.
Uh-huh.
Like
They
they raised a
did.
lot of money, and I still have no idea what the game actually is.
We talked about that on the show around the time when it was
Oh,
coming
did
out.
you?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
I've
I'm fascinated by that. Like, what the hell is going on?
yeah, I've kind of recently dropped stories about like branded crowdfunders because like for a while they were an interesting novelty, but it's kind of just become promotion at this point. Um,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they don't need the promotion, so I understand.
yeah, I think the only thing that we talked about recently on here that was just like interesting was the Tomb Raider game. What happened with that?
Oh, hey.
With Evil
Yeah,
Hat?
I was a contributor for that actually.
Oh hell yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I had mostly positive things to say about Evil Hat and their choices around that. I think it's a I think it's a cool move to to still have that work made. Um,
Yeah, I like them. I like them a lot as a publisher. They're good to work with, and also that they're all about having, like, here's our banned books table. They go to Gen Con and they're just like, yeah, they don't want us to sell this shit, but here we go anyway. Like, it's
Fuck
nice.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I should see if they want to sell anything. I mean, I assume it's mostly their stuff that they do that with, but that's really cool. Um,
Yeah.
hell yeah. Every licensed slash branded teacher of G has a better indie version of itself with the name slash IP filed off. Yeah, I do also. Well, okay. Here's the thing. I this is challenging for me, and I have to. I'm gonna. I'm sorry, Jess Levine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Riley Rethal, friends of the show. I'm sorry, whoever made Scum and Villainy. I don't remember your name. I love those games a lot. I think they're really great. I do kind of wish that there was a more trad. Hmm. I wish there was a more trad Star Wars TTRPG, indie TTRPG, parentheses, that isn't that one that got banned off of Drive Through RPG. Because this is the
So
nuance zone. Because I think that they were good for standing their
this
ground, but I also didn't vibe with what they were presenting. you know?
fair enough. Yeah, there is the Fantasy Flight one, but I don't think it does what you're going to what you want it to do.
I the thing is I kind of like the Fantasy Flight because I played like every Star Wars Teacher RPG except for the one that got banned from Drive Through. I like a lot of the Fantasy Flight game. I just don't like games that have like goals with challenge levels. I think that's like such a mistake because it really disincentivizes a mode of play that's about like playing to find out because you are just going to be like I need to do this goal because that is how I'm going to like advance my character rather than being like whatever
Interesting.
happens I'm gonna do and then I'll still get progression anyways because I played into the game itself. I played into the kind of central ethos of the game.
Yeah, that's entirely fair. I also just know that I am a player who does indeed like number go big. I do like leveling up. Like, they've got me. Like.
Yeah, I also like leveling
Ugh.
up, which is why I found the system so frustrating because it just wasn't. Uh, because I found that I was in situations where I would level up if like the GM hadn't decided to pull a twist at the end that made my goal impossible. Star Wars Euphoria
Oh
hack
crap.
men. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, that's my Star Wars FFG ramble. A mostly pretty good Star Wars game. Like it is probably if I wanted a
Yeah.
trad Star Wars game, I'd probably play that.
Yeah, I played it for the first time earlier this year, and I mean, I do like the Genesis system a
Hmm.
lot. So, yeah, I thought it was fun. I had a
I
good
like
time with it.
I like the weird dice. They're fun.
Yeah, right. And because, like, it's funny though, because I have the Star Wars dice, but I'm using them for a Genesis game, and it's not the same dice. It's just like, because the Star Wars ones were the ones that I could find, because the dice are mostly out of print
Okay.
now.
Yeah, that game is also really hard to get your hands on. Is the other thing.
Yeah, it is. Like, that game is also kind of out of print as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah, managed to find a copy on like eBay or something. It was, yeah, it's difficult to get a hold of.
Yeah, I do very much agree with my partner Lilith, who said Star Wars Euphoria hack. Euphoria is her tactical post-apocalyptic body freak game, and I think it would make a
Sweet.
very good Star base for Star Wars type thing.
Yeah, that would be cool. Would be very
Yeah.
cool.
All right. Do we want to talk about the Play for Peace bundle and then take a quick break before we check the email? Also, send emails, send questions to the email, please, folks.
Oh yeah, please, please, please send questions. I love questions.
Get in there.
Yeah,
All right.
ask the journalists some questions, like
Yeah, it's the only chance you'll get.
yeah,
One of my professors talked about how like it's so dangerous to try and interview a journalist just because like we're so effusive. We know how to like respond to shit in a way that's gonna like, you know, uh, you learn how to protect yourself when you've seen so many people fail too. I think.
yeah. You really do. I'm more just like, yeah, you can feel free to record this. And by the way, this is on the record, off the record. I'm like,
Uh huh.
you cannot screw me. I know libel law. You cannot screw me. Like,
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Let's talk about Play for Peace. Games for Palestine bundle, which is I believe in its last couple of days here. Um, those who have seen the show, I think I was very intense about this around. I would say probably in the the months immediately after October 7th, just because I am like uh, severely anti-Zionist, and I kept talking about it. Um,
good.
but folks who've seen the show should know that Palestine is really important. The liberation of Palestine is like a really important subject to me as an anti-Zionist Jewish person, and I recommend that you get this bundle. It is $8 for 382 items, and I was looking. There are 99 physical games here, including games from friends of the show and an altogether different river by Aaron Lim, for example. Uh, Legendary Vermin has not been on the show, but Aethernet in particular was a. I did a one shot of it for. It's up to you, really. My old AP series. Do you have any recommendations for games, physical or otherwise, in this bundle?
Oh, sorry, you're asking me.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I tend to. I'm kind of. I have no idea like what the ideal kind of engagement with a bundle is. I tend to
Hmm.
just kind of buy it because I support the charitable cause, and then I'll go through my wish list later to see if anything that I wanted is in it.
Yeah.
So I don't tend to look. I really ought to. It'd be good for me to be aware of what I'm getting, but also just I that's just not a thing that I tend to do.
Real. That's super
Yeah.
valid.
Like if I'm being 100% honest, I'm just like I will get it for the charitable cause and also just because it's a ridiculously good deal.
I tend to do much the same, although if there's like a bunch of TTRPGs, I will usually look through just because I like to see
Yeah,
if
this
oh
one.
did a friend put anything here? Smiles.
Yeah, yeah. This one looks like there's some kind of, computer games that look like fun.
Yeah, I also recommend Sophie's Dice here is what I use for pretty much anytime I need dice on a show on my channel. So highly recommend that. Really good visual
Mm.
dice tool. Um,
Okay. Thank you.
and wait, I'm saying this as a positive. You said computer games. Wait,
Yeah.
yeah, I love computer games. I love that as a. I was talking because I've been playing Knights of the Old Republic 1 on stream, and I was
Mm.
talking about how that to me is a computer game. Um, like I this is this is like a tangent, but I really like that phrase, and I really like it's fun to explore things that I've played where I'm like, yeah, that shit's a computer game. Like,
Yeah.
Dark Souls 1 is not a computer game, but like RimWorld is.
Okay. Yeah. Do you by any chance remember Pit Droids? It's like a really old Star Wars game.
Hit
It's a computer
droids.
game.
Are
Pit Droids.
we
Yeah, okay. Like it was this oh my god. I have such vivid memories of playing it and like most people like have not heard of it. And I don't like not in like a oh
Oh.
you haven't heard of it kind of way, but like it was a game whereby you were supposed to like kind of sort droids into like were supposed to put them into paths where they would go into like the correct sorting facility or what have you, and then like you could build paths for them to do that. There was also like levels where you had to get them from one place to another. It was about like I don't really know like what it was about, and then like if you completed like a level, then you'd get like a kind of comedic scene of like droids trying to fix stuff,
Uh-huh.
and it would just yeah like that. That's like the computer game that I think of,
I love
and
Watto
I'm
says
yeah
get to work. I need to like extract
right
that
like
and make that into something for my stream.
right like I'm bringing this up because because yeah,
uh,
you seem like a very big Star Wars fan,
yeah, I'm a
so
Star Wars head.
yeah. No, I just do remember. I know. I just remember like kind of dragging all of the tiles around
Holy
and making
shit.
paths for them to go on. Like it was a good game. Like it was so good.
I've never seen this or heard of this, and I'm like, so I need to stream this one of these days.
Oh my god. Okay, like tell me when you do that because I will watch it. Like
Fuck
there's
yes.
little arrows and stuff, and then you can press buttons to like make them go places. Like I am not doing a good job of describing this, but I also played this game when I was like I don't know, like 6 or something.
I love the differently colored Pitroids. Those are like so. I want to like play one of those in a canon.
Yeah, like those
Like,
are the ones that you need to like sort into places. Like
yeah, I want to play a multicolored Pitroid in like a canon Star Wars TTRPG session.
yeah.
um, what was I gonna say about? Oh, so when you initially said that, I thought you were talking about uh, Pod Racer, the other computer game. Um,
I never played that one, but it sounds like something I would play. And honestly, like I've like oh, okay, that
it's
was
sick as fuck.
good.
It's like really
What the
cool.
hell? Yo, I
I don't
would play
remember if the
that.
controls well, but it's like really, really fun. I remember the sense of speed in this game is like crazy. Um, anyways, people should pirate these.
Yeah, like honestly, I've been looking for pit droids for like a really long time. I had a link at one point, and now I don't know where to find it, and it's like a whole
uh,
thing. But like we've just remember what they took from us,
remember
Like
they? Yeah, that like, uh, it's so interesting because there was such a like, I don't know when it cut off. I feel like it was around like the release of. I feel like the like reception to video games around Star Wars: The Force Awakens like punched a certain cynicism around making like small video games tied to movies for video games for like and really for movie studios. Like I think about how there were like 6 games for each Star Wars prequel, and like every Disney movie had like 2 games, like completely different games for each console, and then now we're in this era
this
where
is a
it's like,
crossover.
yeah, you wait like six
Yeah.
years for like anything tied to a movie to come out.
Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, yeah, sorry, not to derail. We were talking about the bundle for Palestine. I'm so
It's
sorry.
okay. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I'd say. That folks should go grab that. It's $8 and it has some sick stuff in it. Um, yeah. How do we feel about taking a 5 minute break?
I'm very good to do that. I need to get water, hydrate.
All right. Let's.
Yeah, we better come back to like a full inbox of questions. Come on, guys.
Yeah, send me emails. We'll come back at let's make it 08. See you all
Okay.
in a little bit. Bye.
Okay, sounds good.
Hello, everybody. We are back, and I still consent. We
Yep, I consent. I consent. But
we're
who
all
doesn't?
consenting.
Like,
Yeah. Uh. All right. I'm gonna bring in Apocrypha, the male bird. I'll answer some questions. We only have one, which is in the chat. Folks, you can ask questions in the chat or in my email inbox, which is listed at the bottom of the page. It is darlingdemoneclipse@gmail.com. Go give that a shout. But I do like the first question that we got because I do think there's a couple angles we can explore it from. From Sin Absentia, my question: the phrase "computer games" hits such a specific vibe for me. Are there any TTRPGs that are like that? What would that look like? Huh.
interesting. Like in terms of vibe, like
Yeah,
let's try defining the vibe of a computer game, and we can maybe go from there.
yeah. It's
Hang on. What's the name of the tabletop game that Snow was making that came in like a retro case? Do you
oh
know the one I
yeah.
mean?
I think
Like,
something cemetery. Fuck.
yeah, can we find it? Like, because that
Let me hunt
like
her down.
sorry, I tried to be like let's do this sensibly, and then immediately was like, no, wait, this one actually.
Soul Cemetery.
Yes, like that one, kinda. Like,
Yeah,
me.
I think
At
it's
least
a.
that does seem to be the vibe that she's going for.
It is computer game vibes. It is also GameCube game. I think is like very kind of directly what Snow is going for here. Um,
Right.
but I do also think that there's some computer game elements
Yeah.
of this.
I yeah, I also just didn't grow up like with gaming consoles or anything, so kind of everything is kind of like, and I play like video games on my computer, so like I'm probably not a good person to ask this question to, but like
Yeah,
basically everything that isn't analog to me is kind of a computer game, so like yeah.
I think physicality can definitely be part of it. Computer games makes me think of buying a cardboard box with a disc to put into my computer. Yeah,
Okay.
that,
Yeah, that's fair. And I did have Pit Droids on a disc, like.
we get a TTRPG that has an installer, like a 3-disc installer wizard.
Yeah.
We need that.
Um, yeah, Leon Barilaro recently put out like for Greg, which is like a tabletop game, which is also kind of a computer game. It's like on Twine, so I guess that counts as a computer game.
Okay.
Like it's free to play. You just play it in the browser.
I'm hunting this down.
Yeah, that kind of is computer game vibes in the
Uh,
sense that it's like a yeah.
okay. Uh, do you know the name of this game potentially?
Yes, it's for Greg with two G's
Okay. For Greg.
at the end. Yeah.
Having trouble finding it. Let me.
Oh, hang on. I might be able to find it.
Oh, I got it. Here we go.
Okay,
Okay.
great, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, this could be computer-esque.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think huh. Now I'm like I kind of want to make a TTRPG. Maybe that's what Warehouse Faggots is going to look like. Is kind of a um kind of this like KOTOR Lego Island fucking I'm trying to think of like other shit that was like computer games when I was a kid. Microsoft 3D Pinball kind of. Although I don't know if that's a computer game. That's more of like a fuck around in the library kind of game. Um, I'd have to really do some soul searching about like what is a computer game to me. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. But that is
okay.
a really good question, and I appreciate that you asked that. Like, it's giving me a lot to think about like what is a computer game,
I
like
think
the
there's
vibe. Like,
another angle that we can hit that from, which is like
oh yeah,
I think to me computer game and like trad game are like equally kind of implaceable. Um, or not
what
trad
do you mean by
game,
that?
trad the adjective, not trad game the noun. Trad
Okay.
is this like implaceable thing to me because when I say that I want a trad game, I'm not necessarily describing a um like I'm not describing Pathfinder or D&D necessarily, like always necessarily. Um like I think Sage's work, for example, Sage the Anagog's work is very much trad, but a lot of it is also like kind of struck through with an indie sensibility. Um and I think that like yeah, like there are things that I'm like looking for when I say trad that are not necessarily tied directly to mechanics, and I think that like it's interesting to think about the ways that we like construct genre. Obviously, computer game is not a serious genre, and trad is like maybe more of a serious one, but it is interesting. Putting a PDF on a CD inside a cereal box.
Oh my
Huh.
God. Yeah.
One lucky
One of,
PAX U goer will get. No, I'm
yeah.
not promising anything.
Wait, are you going to PAX?
I'm going to PAX U, yeah.
I'm going to PAX too. We should meet.
Fuck yes, we should meet. That'll be awesome. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
hoping to meet a lot of people at PAX U. Fuck
Yeah.
yes.
Amazing. Sweet.
I think there's probably a trad angle too. I feel like video game RPGs used to be way more inspired by teacher RPGs than they are nowadays. I think the mediums used to be closer. Well, I think. Hmm. Okay, I mean, this is getting into like we're in. I'm gonna tie this back to teacher RPGs, I promise, because I do think it is relevant. Um, so the reason why a lot of old CRPGs, computer RPGs, your Fallout, even like Dragon Age Origins, KOTOR, all your
Hey.
Biowares, your your Planescape Torment, your Baldur's Gates, which are just they're just teaching, they're literally D&D. I think part of why those games are so like similar and kind of draw so much. Yes, KOTOR is literally D&D 3, for example. But I think part of the reason why those games are so similar uh, to TTRPGs and draw so much from TTRPGs is because they come from people who were designing them who had played trad TTRPGs and were like, I want to make a video game that's like playing this with a GM that is the computer, or that is, the art of a bunch of people and the computer kind of facilitating that art. Um, as things went on, uh, corporate interests kind of took those things and asked those people, "Hey, can you get rid of this feature? It's not necessarily gelling with people who are playing the game. Can you get rid of this one and this one and this one?" And then we wound up with things like Mass Effect, like Dragon Age Inquisition and Dragon Age 2. Um, I can't really think of. I guess Fallout 4 has some elements of this. These very like companion-driven narrative RPGs, or not narrative necessarily, but like um, light RPGs is what I'd say. That they're not. We're not doing turn-based. We're not doing real-time with pause. Some have action elements, some don't. But they're like mechanically lighter, and I think what's happening now, I think like if we're talking about like really modern RPGs, and I think why a lot of them don't work for me at least, um, the people who are making those things are like now drawing because video games have such fucking like horrible turnover. Um, they're drawing from the era of uh like to me to my estimation like Dragon Age Veilguard is drawing directly from Dragon Age 2 and not from Dragon Age Origins. Like that is the inspiration for it. And so you're getting like something that was already inspired by like corporate notes is now inspiring new work that is just like nailing further in on like the those games like sensibilities. This is from someone who's not involved in video games. I'm talking out my ass here. Like this is my sense of it from what I've heard from like listening to video game industry stuff. Um, but
Yeah, did you play Veilguard?
I haven't yet. That's the thing. I was doing a Dragon Age 2 playthrough, and I found myself so like disappointed by what I was hearing about Veilguard that I did not wind up getting around to it.
Honestly, that's entirely fair. Like, I really do like the Dragon Age series, and I did play Veilguard mostly because I'm at this point like so invested in like
Hmm.
the story. But yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Point being, I think this is why a lot of PBTA games are the way that they are. This is how I'm drawing this back to future RPGs. Is like, I think that there is a you got to go back. You got to go back. I mean, I've said this a lot on the show, but I think it is useful to go back. To try
I've
and
never
draw
actually played
things.
Episode's World, and I would love to.
I have read it. I've not played it either. And I would also really like to play that game.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't think I have it. Like, I'll go look.
yeah, yeah. I think we need to things get like so. I've heard this term like woobified. I'm not sure if I necessarily like that word, but um, I think there is a degree to which like inspiration can kind of like fold in on itself without like
Uh,
considering where the initial inspiration came from. Um, and I think it's useful to. But you don't necessarily always need to be a fan of the classics, but I think it's useful to go back and understand what what the work you're making is, what context the work you're making exists in. Um,
mhm.
is I guess my point. That was a long that was a long tangent for what is supposed to be an interview show. I'm sorry about that.
So good.
Yay. Okay. Um, does anyone have any other questions? I also ask Sebastian, is there anything that we did not talk about that you'd really like to talk about?
I mean, we were going to like kind of touch on the what is it, like the difficulties with itch bundles and payouts
Oh
and
shit.
stuff, like post-porn crackdown, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. That is something that I was thinking about with the blue sky stuff. So that'd be
yeah,
interesting to
it's
talk
kind of
about.
related. Yeah.
Yeah, I think folks have heard my feelings about that a lot. What is your kind of thought process on that?
Like, so I don't understand itch's business model like at all. Like, I like it seems to be that it's like two people, and I have no idea how they're actually like making money. Like, is it all from like the revenue split situation?
I
Do you happen to know?
I don't know. I don't have that sort of insight. I mean, you would have to
Yeah.
presume it is, right? But like, I mean that is that's a presumption, of course. Um,
Right, like I it's kind of baffling if it is indeed their strategy that like they've kind of lasted this long, to be honest. Like that's it's kind of impressive.
yeah, I'm curious. Like, I'm curious why, as you said, like it's been like two people for so long. Um, and people have been, this is not the first situation where there's been a problem with itch. I mean, payouts have been an issue for years and years and
Mm-hmm.
years with
Currently, yeah, currently waiting for one for 60 days. That's just normal.
yeah.
Like, sure.
Um, and I don't accuse itch of anything, but I do think that there's something to be said about like a lot of the situations where I've seen issues have been around charity. A lot of the situations where I've seen issues have been around pro-Palestinian charity, and I wonder to be a fly on
I
the
wonder
wall.
why. Yeah.
Yeah, what are the conversations
Yeah.
that are being had? What are the conversations that aren't being had? I'm like fascinated by all of that.
Yeah, yeah, it's something that I would like to have more insight into as well, but I also do understand that like dealing with the big charity bundles, it is just like an enormous quantity of money. So
Yeah,
I don't actually know like what the actual practical handling of that looks like. So yeah, I don't know, it's just some kind of like, like black box situation whereby I have no idea like how it actually works, you know?
yeah, and I think that's like what it's hard for me to be like so. I don't join the sort of patrol. Excuse me. I don't join the patrol people who are like, "How dare you be mad at Itch?" Because it's like, have they ever explained their actions very well in any
Not
situation?
really.
It's like not really. I understand why people would kind of express frustration about something. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, like, I understand that, like, I do feel like on a personal level that they did over comply and kind of comply in advance or what have you. But like, my issue isn't even necessarily with that. It's more that like there was no communication about it and people just like found that their games were delisted. Like, what the
yeah,
hell? Yeah.
I I've said this in some places. So my experience with them was basically that this is something that I should never say on Blue Sky in like earshot of anyone from Itch, but um, so they suspended Don't Test My Love, my game, and I not delisted. Almost all my games are delisted, but that one was suspended, and I sent them a message I sent them an email like, hey, could you explain to me like what happened here? What was the process for removing this game? Did anyone lay eyes on this game before delisting it? Um, and then they sent me the new rules, and they were like, here's the rules. It was around the same time those rules were released to the public, and then I removed the mention of incest in the description, and then it took a little bit, and then they were like, "Hey, by the way, we're unsuspending your game. We were told, or no, sorry, they just said we're unsuspending your game." And then about a couple weeks later, I'm looking on Blue Sky, and I was not even added in this conversation, but a journalist was like talking to Itch about the game removals, and was like, "What about this game? This game handles." Sexual assault from sexual assault and incest from like a kind of queer traumatic angle, and they were like, yeah, we thought this game had incest, but the person removed it from the tag from the description, so it's good now. And it's like, I don't know why I never heard that directly. Like that was a conversation I ran into on Blue Sky about my game.
Yeah. That's weird. Like so, but removing it from the description was sufficient without changing any of the interior content.
Yeah, and I also made it not. I made it free. It used to cost like I think $3 or so. Um,
Damn.
so yeah, It's weird.
I guess explicit material is fine if you're just giving it to people. Like, what?
Yeah.
But that's crazy.
You're allowed to give pornography. Whoa, okay, I cannot speak pornography freely and openly, but the moment you try and charge for it, that's enough
Nah.
buster. We're
Yeah.
slapping on the cup. So to be clear, my point in that is not to say I think there's some shady stuff going on behind the scenes. It's to say, yeah, they really do not communicate very well a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Pornography.
But I mean, because they, yeah. And I'm also just wondering, like, kind of how many people do actually give literally any money to itch? Because I know that everyone is like, oh, it's Creator Day, all of the money goes to me, and I'm just like, is this a marketing thing? Are you already not giving them money? Like, that would be the sensible thing to do.
Yeah, I have never given itch money, and my screen is not great when I go to my dashboard. I don't know what people are talking about. They must be having
Right.
a bug. It is crazy that that happens when you do that.
Yeah.
For some people. Uh, I want to answer this one because it's kind of related to what we're talking about. From Sin Absentia, I have a bit of a related question. If content tags are going to be used to censor game/art in the near future, is there a good way for creators to handle sharing their work besides just don't tag anything? Uh,
I mean, that's a good question.
yeah, the
And
problem is like,
discoverability is already like a huge problem, like for tabletop anyway. Like we already have like so few ways to find games aside from like hearing about them.
yeah, the issue that I encounter with like, and I think it's a really valid framework for that question. Just kind of want to establish my thought process on this is like, uh, that is a great question for for the censors, right? Like, uh, it is an impossible situation that we can put in our effort to be respectful and kind to the people who might be looking at our work and considering whether it's for them. We've been put in a situation where we have to basically um, assume that these platforms are not going to do a thorough audit of our work and kind of hide within that ambiguity. And I think ultimately I don't think there's a good choice for designers to make, and I think the that question does ultimately need to be framed the um, back on the platforms, and obviously
Yeah.
on the like kind of censorious organizations that are letting this happen. Not tagging anything ever seems fine for covering my own ass. It just sucks because it feels incourteous to people who are looking or not looking for it. There are probably ways to
Yeah.
be a bit more secretive about it. But yeah, it's tough. It's really hard right now to like you know to be making this sort of work. And I don't know. It's I don't know what to do, but I just keep making it. Like we're
Right. Like
still
I actually don't really. Yeah, I don't have any answers to this situation. It's just you just gotta keep going.
yeah, like fucking Your Beheld, the creative collective that I'm making Sapphic World with. We are just like full steam ahead on that game, despite like there kind of being questions about how we're gonna get it like made, because we're just kind of being we're just kind of assuming that like whatever happens we'll figure it out, and sometimes it's like that. All right. Any other questions
Well, yeah.
from chat?
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to Dracotrification. Like I did back that.
Yes, God, I'm still. Unfortunately, there was another delay on the layout for that, so we're gonna try and get that out soon. I
Oh,
really
honestly, no,
hate.
that's okay. Basically, no, I'm one of the people who will just like back a campaign and then promptly forget about it until I like
Good.
actually have to do anything. And like I'm so chill about this. Also, especially as someone who has to like be on the receiving end of all of like
Uh-huh.
the Kickstarter's comments and whatever. I'm just like, no, I'm at no point ever going to bother a creator about their game timeline. I'm chill.
Yeah.
But basically, I'm just saying that I'm looking forward to it. Is that
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. People have been super nice,
Yeah.
actually. I have not had any issues with people
Like I
asking
wasn't
where
even
it is.
aware. Yeah. Like I wasn't even aware that there was a delay. Like I do not pay
Yeah.
attention unless it's like, hey, update your card or something. I'm like, nah, it's good.
We funded it in January, I think, or February maybe. So it's been like 6 months, but I actually think the 6 months were really healthy for it. I think the editing has been like uh, the version of that game that I played on stream to promote it is like so much weaker than the version that's actually going to come out into people's hands.
Ooh.
Um,
Okay, I'm excited. Excited to see
yeah,
it.
the version that we played on stream was like, well, I think the version that we played on stream was like me facilitating the game in a way that like fit the things that I wanted to see in it, and then I just made all those things explicit in the actual text. Uh, Namely, I think the big one is like the dragon is a trans woman with a big dick. It's like kind of the is like kind of the subtext. The dragon is a trans girl who can get hard. Is like a big part of it, and that's kind of affected a lot of
Love it.
things. Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. Um, okay. Um, all right. I think we might wrap up then. Do you have
Okay.
anything you'd like
Yeah.
to direct folks towards that we have not directed folks towards already?
Oh, like promotion stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, what do I even have to promote right now? Like, I like a lot of the stuff that I'm doing does not require like my individual promotion. I'm just kind of vibing in my corner. Like, you can find me at sebastianua.ca because despite my accent, I'm based in Canada.
Mhm.
I am sporadically on Blue Sky at sebastianua.bsky.social, but like, don't expect me to say stuff because I've been trying to not do that. But thank you.
Check out Sebastian's page. If you see any game that has Sebastian's name in it, give it a look. You might find something cool within the pages. Um, and
Thank you.
yeah, have what do I have on the calendar? Because I do like telling people who's coming up. One month I tried to be like, here's who's coming up for the month, and then it completely failed. So I don't set people up for failure. We are actually we're gonna have a week off, and then on the 6th of October at 8:30 p.m. EST, an hour and a half later than normal, I'm gonna have Caro Cercione on. So keep an eye out for that. Should be cool. And yeah, I'm gonna raid someone on the Twitch.tv website, and that is going to be Sophie Baby streaming. No, I'm made to suffer. Uh, I'm writing Pokey's Crypt. Go watch a fella freak play video games. That's the vibe, I think. All right, everyone have a good night. Bye.
Yeah, thank you very much. Bye.
Bye bye.
Remember, if you don't like what you see, you can change it. It's up to you, really. Goodbye, good luck. Fans!